Hello, my name is Lindy Cowling. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk. My email is info@lindycowling.co.uk. And the title of today's video is Healing the Ancestral Bloodlines. So when I come out onto camera and make videos, it is usually by something that I've had experience of, I'm in the middle of, I've worked with clients with, or I'm getting inspired by my own intuition, my own knowing, my own connection with Source. And today I'm very much driven, compelled to talk about healing the ancestral bloodlines. For anybody that isn't familiar with my work, you will notice when I'm on camera, sometimes I speak quite slowly. It's not because I'm trying to think what to say next, it's because I'm talking from what we call the knowing and intuition and from the heart, that I don't plan one word that I'm going to say on camera. The only planned thing is the title, you know, what title I'm inspired to call it. Until I get on here, I have not a clue what's going to come out of my mouth because it isn't monitored by my head. It's coming, I'm tapping it in. People would say it's sort of channeling in some ways, but it is in a way a form of channeling from the direct source you are and the direct knowing you are. So I'm not doing the mediumship side of it where I'm listening or being fed information by my guides or anything like that. It's coming from me in a different capacity, in a different way. So that's why sometimes I hesitate, because it takes a few seconds for it sort of to come up and out, or what I'm going to say. And often you will see me not keeping eye contact with the camera but looking away. That's not because I'm going kind of doolally. That's because I've always worked that way, whether I'm working psychically or with mediumship or clairvoyance, and from tapping into intuition and the knowing. I feel it and then I tap in that way. I look off, and it's hard to explain. I've talked about seeing through the eyes of the heart. It's like hearing through the eyes of the heart. I am clairaudient as well, but which means you hear your guides or spirit in your ear, but it's not that. So I'm not hearing voices. This is different. It's a knowing and intuition. There are other people that work in that capacity, actually, that have spoken about it on camera. Well, not so I'm going to say quite a few people. A few people. Some don't say they work in that way, and it's very obvious they're working that way. Wonderful people like Lee Harris talks very much of the heart, does do channeling as well, British guy that now lives in America, but it's so obvious he's hardwired into who he is. He's hardwired into his team, he's hardwired into Source. Polona, Ascension Pioneers, love watching her work, works very much in the same way, where she is just hardwired into the Source that she is. So it's lovely to see her on camera as well. But there's just a couple of examples that just sprung to mind that I can think of straight away. Anyway, I've deviated. Ancestral and bloodline healing. I was inspired to make this video because the ancestral kind of part of my soul has kind of really come to the fore at this moment in time, but also because I had the privilege of working with a client during the week, and I was witnessing for one of the first times how the ancestral healing is starting to take place. So let me give you an example. These would be people born into families, and these people would be starting to embody the energy of the heart. They would be starting to embody fourth, fifth and up dimensional frequency, vibrate that frequency out. They would do this sometimes. They would just spontaneously, effectively, those people would have ascended. Say, I'm giving an example of someone in a family. So say, for example, this person effectively ascended by descending into the portal of the heart, the elevation of the heart, frequency of the heart. And by being in the family they're in, they are automatically sending out, I always compare it to a dolphin, or like a signal or frequency that is like ripples on a pool of water, someone dropping like a pebble into the water, and then it ripples out across the family, sending out a signal that has the capacity to not only break down the old patterns within them, but to break down the old patterns within the family, to illuminate what has been hidden in the family, to bring great healing into the family, and to bring great light. Sometimes within family bloodlines, I mean, this is just incredibly commonplace. Most families have something that is either genetic or inherited, or a little bit on the negative side, or hidden, or there's a lot of shame, or there's a lot of judgment. There aren't many families, I should think, across the world, to be honest, where there isn't something in there. And when somebody is in that family, and it doesn't have to be just one person, it can be a number of people in that family that have already effectively ascended, or are well on the way into that process, or have elevated up from third dimension, like I say, to fourth, fifth and up. They bring in this immense energy, this immense healing, this capacity for healing to the family. And if you were to ask me, well, you know, how come some people would have ascended, or some people would be embodying this higher vibration and others wouldn't? I've discussed this many times in many different ways on camera. It really depends on the rate of evolution of the people involved, the individual family members involved. I've said this really, really plainly, and I won't budge on this, because my knowing, not my belief system, my knowing will not allow me to budge on this. Not everybody on this planet will ascend, or has chosen to ascend. Not everybody has chosen to ascend. Some will remain, and have remained, and are remaining within third dimensional reality. I used to think, even as close as a year ago, that was a great tragedy, and that it was vital that everyone ascend, but I've moved beyond that now. There are some people that will not ascend because they don't want to ascend, and they never wanted to ascend, they aren't choosing to do that. And if you would say, well, you know, don't we have a duty or something to help those people? How you help those people is you focus in a loving way on your own evolution, on your own well-being, not in a selfish way, but in a way of just being the authentic you, the truthful you. That starts to put out a vibration, being lovingly open, in some ways lovingly honest, you know, just being you, you know, just being you. That is a way of bringing a higher level of frequency into whatever situation you're in, you know, whether it's in families, whether, you know, within love relationships, whether it's at work, whatever relationship dynamic or interaction, social interaction you're in, all of them in fact, because it will ripple out across all of them. So that's how you help, because like I say, you know, everybody's at the rate of evolution that they're at, and we tend to think, especially in the care professions, especially in the therapy professions, that, you know, everybody everybody needs saving. It's not really like that, you know, and that's very much a change of kind of like view and awareness that I've had in recent months. There are some people that don't choose that. They are where they are, and they'll continue to remain where they are, or they may get, you know, to everybody can get to a state of evolution depending on the radio station or the frequency or the band that they're in. Let me explain that a bit better. So if you're in third dimension, you've decided to stay in third dimension, your own limitations which you've placed upon yourself will get you to as far as you can go in third dimension, you know, and no further. There's been a choice there on the level of the soul. Sometimes it's people's choice, sometimes it's lack of awareness, sometimes it's other things, you know, but that's as it is. And then you will have, you know, I was going to say the sadness there. It's not really sadness, but because for many people in third dimension, it isn't sad because they have again, I'm talking about perception. Their perception is a third dimensional world anyway, so there's not sadness associated with that. For others in fourth and transitioning from fifth and going up, you know, from fifth, again, things move very quickly as they are transitioning through that. They do have an awareness of their own expansion. And it's almost like once they start that process, they just continue to expand. I was going to say there are limitations within that expansion because not everybody in fifth will continue up onwards above that. It really depends on, I was going to say, the soul's plan, the blueprint of the soul involved. And also there are other factors, you know, interference or just the personality of the person involved, you know. So, and the ancestral side of it, you know, like I say, if you are, well, I was going to say everybody's, you know, born into one family or another. If you're into or one situation or another, or you're in one relationship or another, you know, everybody's going to be involved in some kind of social interaction with people, whether they even don't see their family or not. I mean, they might be born, or you might be born to a family, you don't see your family from one year to the next, but you're still born into it. Your soul still incarnated into that family, and that's incarnated into the family for a reason, as were all the members of your family. And so where great healing can be given is you don't have to ram these concepts down your family member's throat. You just be who you truly are, not in an aggressive, hostile way. You can still be very strong and have firm boundaries, loving boundaries without the conflict involved. You can still stand in your power without conflict involved. The point I'm making here is by the embodiment of the frequency that you are, especially as you are opening up. You can't tackle this at a third dimensional level because it's a third dimensional and below program, patterning, template. But if you have started to open up spiritually, effectively you've ascended, and there are a number of ways you can do this. People are doing this on their own, or they're being triggered by a spiritual connection, a love connection, or another spiritual connection in some way, or they're having spontaneous heart awakenings. Some are high-powered soul connections. You know, a very small minority are to do with the twin flame template. It doesn't really matter what angle you're coming from there, because they all have different roles to play, different parts to play. But what is happening here is that people are, once they start opening up within a family like that, they're sending out the signal, they're sending out these ripples, they're giving the opportunity for those that wish to ascend out third dimensional reality in the family to also begin to open up and also begin to expand in a way that perhaps they hadn't realized was possible. So for example, if you are in a family like this, or the example I'm using of a person in a family like this, then there may be several other members across the family that then all start spontaneously to open up like little flowers opening as a result of light and that healing, loving vibration sweeping across the family, where perhaps it never had the opportunity to have that light and that loving vibration brought in before. It's all very healing. And I am just starting to see this happen now, just this very week, with people, and that's what inspired me to do this video. When I was working with my client, I said I'm inspired to bring a video out on this because now I'm seeing it start to happen. We kind of knew it was about to happen, and we knew it was there and it was coming, but it's actually now happening. And when a person elevates and expands into this 4th, 5th and up level of vibration in their heart that's in the family, you can feel, it's amazing to see it and feel it, a great weight be lifted from them, not because they've extricated themselves from their family, quite the opposite, because they have become free of all the old templating and all the heaviness and the programming associated with the family, and they are still associated with the family, but in a higher level, so at a higher level of 4th, 5th and above. But they don't feel the weight of it, they don't feel the old template, they don't feel I know sometimes the judgment of it, or the shame of it, or whatever it is, a combination of all of those things. What they do feel is, I could say, a loving connection, or they know very much that they are always part of that family, but they see it and feel it in a whole different way. There's a lightness to it that there wasn't there before, and other members of that family begin to notice that, not just within the person that's embodying this higher vibration, but the actual family members, if they're ready, if they are choosing, if they have an awareness to open up themselves, they will notice this, they will notice the change. And so, great healing can be brought in right the way across there, right across the family, right across the ancestry, right across the bloodlines. And you see, because it's not just in the current family that, you're in now, it goes right back, the entire lineage, right back to the great-great-grandparents, the generations right the way back. And so this healing can sweep across in a way like a loving tsunami, not a tsunami of carnage or anything like that. I see it as a wave that sweeps through like a wave of energy that sweeps through and has the capacity to do this. And obviously, as I started seeing it happen in people, if it's happening in just the few that I connect with, then it must be happening across this planet, which is wonderful. It means there's great healing taking place, great healing taking place across the generations of family. And I mean, alongside this, there is great healing of the land taking place. We know that people are doing this kind of work, and my knowing on this is that, of course, because we are interwoven with the land, we live on the land, we're connected with the land, we're intricately interwoven with earth, that the healing that takes place within these bloodlines and the families is also helping heal the earth. That's also going back into the earth. And if we go back into the real ancestry, where we go back into the tribal ancestors, and also the tribal parts of our soul, the multidimensionality, the other timelines, it's important for me to say that it doesn't just stay in this dimension. when healing on this level is taking place, it's going across all timelines, going across the whole multidimensionality of the soul, but it's also going back across the right the way across the planet, right away across to our actual recorded history, soul recorded history, the planet's actual embodiment of all this. It's all interconnected. So there's not one and not the other, it's all interconnected. There's great healing of the land, great healing of the water, great healing of the sky, great healing of all these things. Great healing of the ancestral bloodlines, you know, interwoven with this planet Earth. And there's no separation, and all the dimensions feel the reverberation. That would be the word, reverberation of this. So it's an amazing thing. I mean, it's also connected in some ways with our guides. When I say our guides, many people believe in the angelic realms. I'm also talking about our guides that work with us. You know, it can sometimes be, you know, guides from different countries all over this planet, or tribal guides, Native American Indian guides, for example. And they, of course, are still connected with us, even though they're in another dimension, effectively passed over. But they are also still connected, just because they're in another dimension, connected with us and connected with the land. And so they are assisting in great numbers at this time. They are really happily stepping forward to assist with this. So not only your own relatives that have passed over, what you would call died, have moved into another dimension, are assisting with this and affected by this, but also guides that are wanting to help from the different nations all over the world and the different tribes from all over the world that are stepping forward to help this process. I think it's very, very exciting because, like I say, we knew for a while that it was coming. We had the knowing on that, but it is quite exciting to actually witness it happening in people now. And it, you know, the bottom line here is healing. This is all about healing. You know, it's all about healing. It's putting out a healing vibration. It does link to the line in my last video, where literally things are being overturned now and coming to light. And I think I said the unseen will now be seen. In a way, it's another form of that, really. I wouldn't say to you that all of that healing is bringing out and talking about the big family secrets. I'm not saying that in some families that isn't happening, and that is being brought out and discussed, and that's part of the healing. It won't always be that way for all families, I'm sure. Sometimes it will still be unspoken, but the point I'm making is the frequency and the vibration is still sweeping out across those families. So on some level, healing is being done, even if the third dimensional family members that are within that paradigm aren't aware of it. It's still being done. The work is still being done. So it's, you know, that's why I wanted to speak about it today, because it's very, very exciting, and it's again starting to take place now. So I think one of the biggest questions I've been asked over the last maybe 5 years, yeah, over the last 5 years, especially as I was doing, you know, kind of bigger radio shows like BBC Radio 1 and Red Ice Creations, Christina Walsh's Surfing the Psychic Waves on Soundwave, shows like that. One of the most common questions I'm asked by people on email, or, you know, people that contact me as a result of those shows, is what can I personally do, not I, they mean them, personally do to assist people, because most of us aren't just 100% concerned with our own welfare. We are you know, wanting the best for the people we love, actually, and even people we, you know, we're not directly connected with, that we still care about, you know, we want the best for everybody. And like I said before, really, the best thing that you can do is be the authentic you. It sounds so easy. It's the hardest thing that human beings find to do, because there are a number of layers that have to get peeled back before you get to that stage. Some of those layers are quite painful. I mean, this is the phoenix rising from the ashes scenario. When you have to strip back everything you thought you were, there's often a process of a lot of things falling away from you. You know, we can be very blasé and say, oh yes, that's the old belief systems, that's this, that's that. Let's be real about this. That sometimes means a lot of people falling away from you. A lot of people will love you morphing into the real you. Just as many, if not more, will not like that, because what it brings up for them, and because you will maybe seem very different and feel very different, and maybe they'll project a lot of stuff onto you. But I guess the most loving, healing thing you can do is just be the true you. That brings a vibration out. Everybody goes through a process, and you can't jump start that process. You can't go from point A to the end of the alphabet in one quick motion. It does take a period of time. I can't even give you how much time, because every soul is different. It's taken me a number of years, and I'm changing every week. So you don't get to a stage where that's it. You continue expanding and evolving, unless you've chosen otherwise. So I can't give you how long it will take, because everybody's different. What I can say is this does not happen overnight. It is process. It's process of spiritual evolution, of maturity, and you know, it's a process that's going out across the whole wave of consciousness on this planet. So you know, although there's this interconnectedness, everybody's at different stages within these dimensions, within these perceptions, you know, but it's all interconnected. I see it and feel it like when I'm talking about it now, I see it like a huge great quilt. I've got playing in my head, which is really funny. I sometimes get this knowing coming up, or sometimes clairaudiently something will play in my head. It'll be like a radio playing, and I just got I think it's called Coat of Many Colours by Dolly Parton. I've got that blasting out my left ear now. When I said I can see it, and my hair's gone on end, she's making me laugh. That's my psychic centres, that is, going crazy now. Yeah, Coat of Many Colours, which is making me buzz saying that. And I can see like a quilt with different things sewn together, but each one represents. It's making me feel quite emotional, because it's not coming from me, because I can feel the emotion of it now. Each of these squares represents a nation of this earth, or a tribe of this earth, the different people of this earth, and all interwoven in this beautiful coat of many colours, this beautiful patchwork quilt. This healing is going out across all the nations. That's the point I'm making here as well. When you're bringing this vibration into your family, it doesn't stop there. It stops when it's gone out across not just your family, but everyone they were connected with. Say the family had, I don't know, they were connected with something to do with World War, well, let's face it, loads of families connected with World War One, but something to do with World War One that was very distressing to the family, then it will sweep out across other families. It kind of connects up like in this coat, this patchwork quilt of many colours, this coat of many colours. all the people in World War One and the families connected with World War One, then the spirits that were connected with World War One. You see what I mean? It's going out across the dimensions, even people that aren't physically here with us now connected with World War One. It's extraordinary. So it's massive. So don't be thinking that, yeah, you know, I'm just in this family, I've gone into the heart, you know, and it stops there. It's even more massive than maybe you think. It's going out across the dimensions, it's going out across everywhere, it's going out across this planet. It's huge. It's huge. This is a big part of what's happening with this ascension process. This is a huge part of it. This new template is this healing of the ancestral side of it and the bloodlines, and now we're actually seeing it in action. That's all I wanted to say. I can't believe how long my videos are getting. These are the last one was the longest video I've ever done, and this one again. It seems I have so much to say, and until I've got it all across, I'm not able to stop speaking. So I hope you didn't get bored. I've loved doing this one actually. I'm very into my native side at the moment, my shamanic side, very wired into that part of my soul and my ancestry in a way, really. So I've enjoyed doing this. I will love you and leave you. Didn't expect to make this one today, but hey. Take care of yourself, guys. Till we meet again. Bye.